Okay, so the report is that Patriots players are alarmed by the team's offensive coaching staff.
They'll change in June. They'll change in August. They'll change in September. So we'll evolve to the things timely that we need to do. And if you're asking about game plans, we're like months away from that. Months. So what plays are we calling?
Oh,
Mini camp plays?
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. We're going to coach the team, coach the players. We're going to get them ready to go. We're going to game plan when we have to game plan. We'll play call. Do all the things that we need to do and compete in games. Right now, we're months away from that. The execution of the plays, I think, are a lot more important than the plays themselves. So I've called them. I've not called them. I've called them. I've not called them. So is everybody else.
Okay, should we have faith in Bill Belichick this season? And it's time we talk about the Patriots again and Bill Belichick. And what is the philosophy offensively going into the season? Zach, I pass that right over to you. Should we be confident in Bill Belichick this season?
Yeah, so I'll start this one off, Will, by saying this. A few weeks ago, and I believe I mentioned it to you, I saw a clip of Nelson Aguilar being interviewed, and he was just asked a simple question. It was, who is the Patriots offensive coordinator going to be next season? And right off the bat, you could tell he was instructed, like, do not say anything. Don't answer it. Do not let anyone know. It's almost like the Patriots didn't even know their plans were yet. And I just thought to myself, like, what other team in the NFL or college football would not be able to answer that question right now? And that's when it kind of hit me, like, okay, I'm going to be shorting the Patriots this season because I think this experiment with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia could just end in an absolute disaster. Because I'll say this. I think Bill Belichick has simply ran out of assistant coaches. Over the past 20 years, he's done such a good job getting so many people on his staff, coaching jobs, and whether they've worked out or not, he has one of the best coaching trees I've ever seen just in terms of the depth and the names and the amount of people. But this season, losing Josh McDaniels is such a huge loss. This is a guy that has been with the Patriots for a total of 14 years as their offensive coordinator. He thinks very similarly to Bill Belichick. They're always on the same page. Tom Brady loved working with him. He did a good job with Mac Jones last year as a rookie. I think this is a huge loss, and it could damage the Patriots a little bit. And when I'm hearing that he is going to replace Josh McDaniels with Joe Judge and with Matt Patricia, like, that is panic city right away, because we saw Joe Judge coach offense last year with the New York Giants. And when he went from Jason Garrett to Freddie Kitchens, I just like, what is that? Jason Garrett to Freddie Kitchens? That's the number one replacement you're going to make an offensive coordinator? And then we're watching the Giants run the ball on 3rd and 9, like with Kyle Shanahan, right? I remember when he first got to the 49ers and they were playing C.J. Beathard at quarterback, and they were just embarrassing. They were a bad football team. You could at least see, like, guys were getting schemed open, and it's like, wow, like, that was really impressive. He just missed the throw. But I didn't watch the Giants the last 2 years, and I was like, oh, like, that was just innovative offense. And then Matt Patricia, he hasn't coached offense since he worked with offensive linemen in 2005, which is a long time ago. And are we sure Matt Patricia is a good coach? Like, I know he's got the pencil in his ear, but the last time I checked, when he left the Patriots and they elevated Brian Flores, they became the best defense in football. You know, the last championship Brady won with the Pats was that defensive war of a Super Bowl against the Rams. Like, that was Brian Flores' defense, not Matt Patricia. And now you're going to be trusting him coaching offense? And just more importantly, like, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Tom Brady, like, these guys aren't walking through that door. It's Nelson Aguilar and Mac Jones and Hunter Henry. Like, even though the Patriots spent a lot of money on these guys, like, these are not talented players. And I think Belichick, like, I could see a chance if things just work out so badly throughout the first few weeks that maybe he just shifts over to the offensive play calling duties, and I think that would go better than Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. But you know how Belichick is. Like, he wants to focus on his defense. That's his toy, and he doesn't want to take so much time out of his day to focus on the offense. That's why having a guy like Josh McDaniels was so valuable. I do think that he wanted to bring in Bill O'Brien from Alabama, but Nick Saban and him just had that special relationship, and Nick Saban said, no, that's not going to happen. And I think the Patriots could be at a little bit of a crossroads here, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm concerned.
Should we have faith in Bill Belichick today? Today, Zach? Today? Right now, at this hour? Ah, no, but we should have faith in Mac Jones. I'll spin it to you that way. We should have faith in Mac Jones, not Bill Belichick. I'll start off with why we should have faith in Mac Jones, and then we'll go to the Bill Belichick route. The reason why is because despite the uncertainty at the offensive side of the ball, as far as schematically and how that is concerned, you still have a quarterback who is young and is on a rookie deal, which is like one of the prize, assets for any team is to have a good future star in the league cheap on a rookie deal where you continue to add on to the roster and try to compete for a championship. That in itself puts them over other teams that have expensive quarterbacks or about to have an expensive quarterback and they can't, add on to the roster in the future. So by virtue of that, the Patriots are above the 8 ball. Now, I do believe Mac Jones is a star to make it. I think he's the best quarterback, needless to say, in that entire class. Like, I really do, after a year to watch these guys. I think he's the best and the most pro-ready out of all those guys, and I think it will show. I think he's confident. He's a great teammate. He's accurate, great timing. He can make the throws. He has a good arm. Because they have Mac Jones is why I would have not hit the panic button if I'm a Patriot fan just yet. Now, let's go to Bill Belichick. I thought there was a lot of instances where they could have won the game and he didn't go for the game. Like, it was just like babying Mac Jones, and that will be the only instance where I'm worried because if he's calling the plays, then I think he's more conservative than a Josh McDaniels who spice things up a little bit. There was a couple times, and I watched the Patriots daily because I was a Patriots fan for 2 decades, so I can tell you a lot of things play by play almost. There was a couple instances, one game in particular, divisional round or AFC Championship, one of those, where they played the Ravens. Tom Brady was the quarterback, and the offense was stagnant. It was not doing nothing. Obviously, we all know the Ravens played the Patriots really, really well. There was one thing that Josh McDaniel did. He ran a fake where Tom Brady threw it to Edelman, and then Edelman threw it to Amendola for the touchdown, and that was our biggest play of the game. It's little nuances like that of the creativity that we're going to miss from Josh McDaniels that sets that team and those years apart from this current team. Like, yeah, when you have Tom Brady, you have Bill Belichick, you have Josh McDaniels. A lot of people say Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Well, yeah, let's add Josh McDaniels to that mix. You got yourself a pretty good team. Obviously, we all know what we know. Tom Brady is on the Buccaneers. Josh McDaniel is coaching the Raiders. And I think we'll see the Raiders take a big leap forward. And we'll see the Patriots huddle right over that line that was last year. They're still a playoff team, in my opinion, even without the certainty of the play calling. I still think they're good enough because they're a system. They've always been a system. The Patriots always been a system. That's just how they operate. The Patriot way. Their defense is going to be fine. Their offense, they got weapons. Nelson Aguilar is not the greatest receiver, but he is a good receiver when he wants to be in spurts. Kendrick Bourne was one of the hidden jewels that they got. You also got Devontae Parker, who I think is one of the more underrated, top 5 underrated wide receivers today, with his contested catchability and his speed. And I think because they got Mac Jones, I'm not hitting the panic button on the Patriots, and that's why to answer this question, I won't have faith in Bill Belichick. I have faith in Mac Jones and the Patriot way.
So let me ask you this. I would agree with you in the sense that last year and last year alone, Mac Jones had the best season out of any rookie quarterback. Obviously, he led his team to the playoffs, and I do agree it was a successful rookie season for Mac Jones. But the question I have for you, Lil, is do you view him as a guy that could elevate the team if Belichick doesn't have it, if Joe Judge and Matt Patricia are just having no idea what they're doing with the play calling like I expect them to? Because that's my thing. Like, I think Mac Jones was really good last year, and he had an impressive year. And, like, I'm not trying to short him by any means, but I think a lot of it had to do with the system and the organization. And, like, he had a good year, but he didn't have a great year. Like, Mac Jones, the reason why he was a first-round pick was because he was a sure thing. Like, he might not turn out to be an all-pro quarterback in the end, but it was very unlikely that he would just completely bust. And it's safe to say he is not a complete bust. He is a productive quarterback in this league. But I just think without Josh McDaniels, like, I have a hard time believing that this guy is going to elevate this Patriot team who has some names, but, like, I compare the Patriots offense and their weapons to some of the other offensive group of skill position players around the league. And like, not going to lie, I'm pretty underwhelmed, even in their division. Like, I'm not trying to say this as a Jet homer, but like, I compare the Patriots weapons and the Jets weapons. Like, it's not too far off. The Dolphins bring in Tyreek Hill. We know Buffalo and the firepower they have. Like, I don't know, man. I just look at this whole team and like, I'm pretty underwhelmed. And I like Mac Jones. I think he's a productive player, but I've never viewed him as the guy that is going to go into a bad situation and elevate his team from it. I think he's going to be at his best in a structured, unique system with a guy like Josh McDaniels. And not going to lie, like, I'm kind of worried about his well-being without him. And if he has to work with Joe Judge.
They kept the pacifier in his mouth. It's funny because I don't know if that was strictly Josh McDaniels to begin with, because Josh McDaniels, to me, at least his actions have shown me that he's more of an aggressive tone guy. Like, he's more aggressive. He gets to the Raiders, Devontae Adams. Oh, yeah, we're going to pay you like the highest wide receiver.
I guess what I'm asking is, don't you think there has to be a reason why they kept the
But look at this point. Look at this point. Look at this point, though. What I'm saying is that Josh McDaniels is an aggressive guy, so I don't know if all last year was his play calling, is what I'm trying to say anyway. You know, I think that was more Bill Belichick's intel. I don't think last year was all Josh McDaniels anyway. Like, it had to be some Bill Belichick intel, because it reminded me of Tom Brady when Tom Brady first came to the league. Josh McDaniels wasn't on that team that long. You know what I'm saying? As an offensive coordinator, it was Bill Belichick. So if everybody kind of realizes that and realize that Bill Belichick had some intel anyway offensively last year, because clearly we're looking at the same guy, Mac Jones and Tom Brady, the first year, and how that offense was ran, that we shouldn't be as worried, because we all know the Patriots operate in a system and nobody is bigger than the system.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is obviously like the Jones-Brady comparisons can be made. Brady as a rookie, but like in 2022 in the NFL, where it's a very high-scoring a league focused on passing, like my thing with Mac is I don't think he's going to be at his best when you're throwing him like, 30, 35 times a game. I think you need that organized, structured system. And for Mac as a rookie, like, I know at the end the Patriots didn't get the result they wanted, but I still think last year was a really successful season for the Patriots, considering the division they were in and what they had around them. And last year, like, I felt pretty good about the Patriots up until the playoffs. And I'm just here to say, like, going into this season, I don't feel anywhere as close to as good about them and their future outlook for this season, which is weird because their quarterback, who I'm a fan of, like, he's in his second year, so you would think he would do better. But I don't know, man. Like, something's a little off, and Mac is solid. He's productive, but I've never viewed him as a guy whose ceiling is going to change like exponentially. I would be very surprised in 3 to 4 years, when looking back at this draft class, if we say Mac Jones was the best quarterback in the draft class. I would be pretty surprised. I don't think he'll be the worst either. I think he'll be third or fourth, maybe second, like somewhere in that range. I think he was just a safe bet as a first-round quarterback draft pick. He wasn't going to bust, and he hasn't. But I'm just curious to see, can he elevate this Patriot team?
I think he will be, because he's in the best to succeed on the short-term end. Now, the reason why I say that is because, like, think about it. If Mac Jones went to where Justin Fields went, where even Trey Lance went, because he would have been a backup, and obviously that whole Jimmy Garoppolo situation, I think, is also a distraction for Trey Lance. He went to the best possible place to go, where there's structure, there's not a lot of distractions. You have to be focused on football, otherwise you will not survive. He went to the best place for the first couple years of his career. So that's why I'm not worried right now, because right now he's in a better situation than Zach Wilson, even though Zach Wilson and his team, credit to the Jets, phenomenal job this offseason. And I think long-term, he will probably be set up for the most success out of all of them. But right now, today, Mac Jones, went to the best situation. And that's why we can see and look at him and be like, he's the best quarterback right now. Yeah, because he went to the best situation. And that's why I'm not worried today. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be worried tomorrow. Long term, if Mac Jones, and let's say they do get a coordinator and they do change the philosophy, then he will probably be in the best predicament to succeed, because the Patriots are the Patriots, and they're known for winning. Last year, they over exceeded expectations. They got to the playoffs. Congratulations. They got bounced, but they got to the playoffs, and that's valuable, because now you've been there, done that. Zach Wilson didn't touch the playoffs. You know, those other guys, Trey Lance didn't touch the playoffs, and now Trey Lance, assuming he's a starter, is going to have to deal with the expectation that this is a win now roster and we need to win a chip. And that's impossible. I don't think that's going to happen in his first year. It's not impossible, but I think it's unlikely. Mac Jones now got that taste of defeat in the playoffs. He got that experience. Another year. Obviously, new philosophy, new system, same philosophy, right? I think he's going to be fine.
The Can You Dig It Sports Radio Network is here. Revolutionize the game of media. Be a dig.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all not getting tired of watching In the Huddle over and over again, so like and subscribe to the channel and receive these new notifications of new uploaded content that will be coming your way. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.